how I've always kind of wanted to ask, how did Handwraps come to be?
Man, ever since I was 15, I wanted to have like this fucking $1 billion weed empire. And I was like, I'm going to smoke blunts with Wiz Khalifa. I graduated 2011. So, that was like prime, like
same age. Yeah.
weed smoking era for like rap music, for our generation at least.
Yep.
And
The Snoop Dogg and Wiz Khalifa collab.
right. The Young and Wild and Free.
That was like our senior year or something.
Mac and Devin go to high school. Yeah, that was senior year, right?
Yep.
I remember being in Doc Mo's biology class, hitting one-hitters in the bathroom and coming back to watch this. Now, at the time, we were smoking K2 because we got hair tested at CBC. So
you went to CBC. I forgot about that.
What a time, right?
Yeah.
The K2 era was disgusting. But, I always wanted to have some sort of, connection in the cannabis industry. And, at one point I was like, oh, I'm going to have my own blunts. I'm going to have my own weed strand. I'm going to have all this other stuff. And, when I had my daughter at 18, that kind of put most of my dreams of moving out west and all this stuff on hold for the time being, and just kind of, trying to figure out a way I could navigate into the market without having, $5-10 million behind me at these super mega global corps that we see now that are growing. And, I had a conversation with a guy when I was probably about 21 who told me, one of the most efficient ways to operate in business is to sell picks and axes, right? This is a gold rush. Everyone's going to be finding the gold. Sell the tools that these people need to find the gold, right? And so when, legalization came about in, 2019 here in Missouri, that's what I was looking for. Okay, what are my picks and axes? What are people going to need? What are people, currently doing now to consume these products that I could maybe get? Can't blow glass. Honestly, I fucking hate smoking out of glass. So, I've always been a blunt smoker, a joint smoker, or whatever. Fuck, you can probably hear it in my voice. But I was like sitting in my undies in the middle of the pandemic, the whole fucking world shut down, and, everyone's training at my house because I lived straight across the street from St. Charles MMA. So when the gym shut down, we would have like 10, 12 guys at my house. My whole basement is covered in mats. And so we had different practices going on and shit. And sometimes we're smoking like 20, 30, 40 joints a week. And, we'd be blowing through a pack of papers in like a day and a half. So I'm like fucking tired of this shit, man. I'm like, you know what? If I had my own papers, I'd never fucking run out of papers. And my girl was like, then do it. Like, what? She's like, start your own papers. She's like, you love rolling joints. This is all you do anyways. Everyone comes over here, brings their weed. Hey, will you roll this up for me? Can I pay you to roll joints for me? And like, okay. So, I'm sitting there in my undies on the couch. We're fucking locked down basically in a snowstorm and shit. And she's, sitting there cooking in the kitchen. I'm, making calls to other countries in the middle of the night trying to source papers because I'm like, all right, it's got to come from somewhere.
Sure.
And then I start watching this documentary from the guy who, the founder of Raw, Josh Kesselman.
Okay.
Not exactly the biggest fan of him, but he's a fucking genius. And you can't knock the guy for the things that he's done, not only for, the cannabis industry, but to like really make sure that people are, if they're operating in this space, are at least trying to do it the right way, as far as testing products and all this other stuff. Now, there's a few scandals with fake charities that he set up, but that's a different time and place. Yeah. So, but I knew the thing I wanted the most was to make sure that they were going to be the cleanest papers sourced from real product, not floor scrappings of tree pulp from a fucking Chinese factory where there's no testing or anything. Because Missouri market, we have like one of the most strict testing protocols for consumable in the dispensaries, at least. So edibles, vapes, pre-rolls, stuff like that. It has to, everything's got to meet certain requirements, right? And one of the biggest things altogether is chromium, right?
What is that?
It's just a heavy metal.
Okay.
Now, it's basically in everything you've ever fucking had. And the amount you need for it to be toxic to you is like almost impossible for you to consume in a lifetime,
Okay.
Unless you're just eating straight chromium for, part of your diet. But for some reason, it's one of the most,
It's what they're looking for. Or
Missouri's one of 4 states that even test for it.
Oh, okay.
And our levels are 5 times higher.
And
like,
everybody else's?
As far as like how strict it has to be. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I had to find something that could do that. You know, something I could have COAs and all these tests that were done beforehand. And man, I mean, as fast as I had the papers, they were gone. You know,
So you like ordered the first batch?
I ordered 50 and they were gone in 20 minutes.
Really?
Yeah.
Shit.
Cool.
Yeah. And because I was telling people, hey man, this is what I'm doing now. You know, it was one of those things like, hey, I'm going to tell people just so I force myself to do it. Because like, I feel like so much of my life has like been, you know, paralysis by analysis. Like, what's the best plan to navigate this, instead of it's like, well, let me come up with 50 ideas and pick from those, and then
one of them will work. And
yeah, right.
And then I'll drop the other ones. And
right. This is really the first like venture that I've had where every idea I had first, I ran with, even as far down to the name. Like,
yeah, how did the name come about? Obviously, you're a MMA fighter. You know, it makes sense. But
well, so it was really like, how do I take the two niches that I enjoy the most and make them one?
Yeah,
right.
Love it.
But without really, you know, forcing them to be separate either, you know, because at the end of the day, if you combine two niches, like you're going to have to, I don't want to say pander, but you're going to have to play to one audience in most scenarios. But there is such a crossover between cannabis and martial arts and just, you know, really even an active lifestyle, which is kind of where it's started to tailor towards now. But it was really, you know, how do I bring these two things together? That's it. And, you know, I'm like, okay, well, you roll joints by hand. What else do you do? Like, I didn't want to make it like jujitsu related because I feel like that's almost even too niche.
Too
like,
niche, yeah.
You know, so it's like, okay, well, you wrap your hands in boxing, kickboxing, MMA, all these other things. Like, okay, well, we hand roll joints, so we're
wrapping
the weed, right? Okay, hand wraps.
Yeah,
boom, right
perfect.
there.
Yeah, you call them, you know, the hand wraps. Yeah, makes complete sense.
And I was, you know, at first I wanted the king size to be called like the knockouts, you know, like the big boys or like the heavyweights. And I'm like, you know, I think maybe now I'm going a little too far into it. But yeah, I mean, it was really like, okay, first idea, I'm gonna fucking start a joint paper company. Okay, next idea, I got to come up with a name. All right, the two niches that I love the most: combat sports, MMA, jiu-jitsu, and cannabis. How do I make it work together? Right, because to come into the market with a new product, you have to have something different. I mean, I say it all the time. Just because, you know, McDonald's makes a cheeseburger doesn't mean I can't make a good one too. But you got to be doing something different to draw the business. So like, I have this built-in audience from, you know, being a commentator and a matchmaker and coaching for the last, you know, 6 years now. And, you know, just really put it in front of all the people that I trusted the most. And fuck, man, it blew up.
Took off.
Blew up so fast without even me really even putting a lot of effort into it. It was almost on accident where I'm like, oh shit, I got to keep up with this.
I got something here. Yeah.
So funny story, you know, that 50 goes like in basically like 20, 30 minutes because I posted them online and boom, 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 people were buying. Also, if you listen to this, Aaron Kender, love you, my boy. He was the first one to buy a box, showed up at my house. The second they landed, gave me cash, gave me more than what I asked for and said, I believe. So if you hear this, I love you, buddy.
That's awesome.
But, so I'm like, all right, cool. I got fucking 50 off. I'm going to order 500. 500 came. They were gone within a couple days. I'm like, all right.
Damn. So are you just like selling these just like to your buddies at the gym, or do you like
to the gym?
Do you have a online store set up as well, or are you not that far
so yet? I had set up the website, but I didn't understand how to like really integrate Shopify, right? With, you know, sales tax and all this other stuff. So I was like, all right, you can order everything through here, but I got to figure out the fucking back end shit. So I'm like, if you want a discount, you don't want to pay taxes on it, just pay me directly. Just pay me directly. That's kind of how I did the first few. I'm like, all right, I can set this aside. Now I can at least account for the taxes myself. I'll pay it on the fucking back end, whatever. And that 500 came and went in about like probably like 3 or 4 days, maybe a week at the max. And I'm like, all right, it's time I'm going to step this shit up. Like, I had a Facebook page or an Instagram page that got to like 700-800 followers in, you know, like 10 weeks.
Damn,
so I mean,
pretty good.
I mean, it's macro scale. It's not shit.
It's small, but like that's for anybody starting an Instagram page. Like, it takes a long fucking time to gain a following.
If there was 600 people in this building here to see me today, I'd be pretty fucking stoked.
Yeah,
you know. So exactly. It's like I always got to remember, like, that's what this is.
Dude, well, we think the same thing with this show. It's like, you know, we look at some things that we get, you know, 40 views, and it's like, dude, you know, it's not not nothing. Like if I stood up in front of a group of 40 people, like that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a big room, you know, like it's a big room of people. And, you know, it's something I got to always remember and remind myself of when I look at these other podcasts that are, you know, getting hundreds of thousands of views. And it's like, okay, well, you know, we're not there yet, you know,
Right.
but like, you know, 5 10 years
Consistency.
from now, we keep up with it. You know, who knows? We might
Right.
get there.
Sure.
And if we don't, it's not, we do it just because we enjoy it,
Yeah.
you know? So,
Right.
And you get to sit down with awesome people like you and our other guests, like just to hear your stories and because everybody has a unique story.
Right.
It's just our, you know, for us, how do we get it out of them?
And if all this ever becomes is like a fun hobby you have
Yeah.
with your buds and you get to do cool shit, like what else do we need as adults, right?
Right,
Like,
right, exactly.
exactly.
You know?
That's all it needs to be.
So I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, I really got to fucking, I'm gonna ramp this shit up. You know, I ordered 500 this time. I'm gonna order 3,000 next time. Everything came
Oh no.
Everything came wrong. The boxes were wrong. The fucking booklets were printed the opposite direction. So instead of opening left to right, they opened right to left. Like, it was all fucked up. It's all fucked up.
Well, do you go back to the manufacturer on that and be like, hey, listen, this is a fucked up order that you sent me.
Yep.
I want a new one.
Yep. And they made it right.
Okay.
But then it got hung up in customs
Mm.
for about 4 months.
Oh,
no.
shit.
Oh, it was awful. It was awful. Because, you know, it went from France to a shipping port in Germany and then to another place. And then it hit New York and got hung up in customs there. And no one made me aware of it. So I'm just like waiting.
Just
my-
waiting.
waiting. And I finally get a hold of my manufacturer and they're like, yeah, man, we're trying to get on this now. We're made aware of it this week, blah, 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 blah. They were trying to charge me $25 a day plus 10 cents a pound for every package that I had for every day that they held it because they needed EIN and a few other things to import it. No one reached out to me. No one did anything. And
You just were racking up money.
Oh,
Uh-huh.
jeez.
Yeah. And I'm out product.
Yeah.
Right.
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 Well, at least product that I could sell.
Mm-hmm.
So what I did was there's all these, I got to be careful with my words. The correct term to use is legacy market events. Okay. So people with a medical license or local growers or whatever, they put on like swap meets essentially. And, you know, some people do it the right way where, hey, you can buy tickets and these tickets are redeemable for whatever items are on at someone's table. And that's on you guys. I've been to ones where there's people just, this is a straight just open air drug market. And I've walked in and I'm like, yep, I'm out of here. But I showed up to a few of these and just gave out papers. And I had papers I had, but I couldn't sell. So it's like,
Oh, the fucked up ones.
yeah.
Okay.
So it's like, you know, there's no retail boxes for them. They're just blank white boxes, but the booklets are okay. The paper's still okay.
Right.
They're just printed backwards.
They're not on the right.
Yeah.
They don't display properly.
Right. But I could give them out.
Sure.
People can use them. So I went to at least 2 events a month for
It's
3
like
months.
cannabis friendly events or whatever they
Yep.
are. Okay.
Yep. And just gave out papers. Didn't charge a dime, nothing. Just gave every single one out to every single one that I went to. I did that for about 4 months. And then after that, it just.
Well, yeah, dude. Because I mean, people, you just giving shit away for free.
Yeah.
People love that.
People love that. And you're familiar with the brand Cookies?
Yes.
Okay. So Berner, the guy who like started Cookies, he said he gave away $3.7 million worth of merch in the first 5 years.
Wow.
But I mean, that's arguably one of the biggest cannabis brands out there. if
Oh,
I'm not mistaken, right?
probably the biggest.
I know, because like I know Wiz Khalifa's got a stream
Mhm.
with them, and
Mhm.
like, there's a couple other like celebrity, you know.
They invented the term like rapper weed,
Yes.
and shit like
Yeah.
that. But you know, Berner did $3.7 million in 5 years in free merch because
Now is
So-
Burner is that the rapper Burner?
yeah,
Oh, really?
he started
He
Cookies.
started Cookies?
Yeah,
Okay, I
yeah.
didn't know
Well, there's some debate on that, but
Okay.
yes, he is the head of Cookies and the face of it all for sure. But you know, so I kind of took that model like, well, I can't give this stuff. I mean, I can't sell this stuff. I can't just sit on it either.
Right.
And these guys are making it right. So I'm going to have product eventually. And then it became like this, you know, oh man, I'm out. You're just going to have to pre-order. and
That-
pre-orders came in.
Dude.
Pre-orders came in, and then I didn't even approach a dispensary or a store or anything for like 6 months,
Okay.
just because one,
You
I
didn't
did-
need to.
I didn't really need to. I didn't have the volume, I thought at least, to compete with the margins that they were getting from these big distributors. So it's like, either you infiltrate the market and, these people trying to sell the products come to you, or you try to do it vice versa, right? Which these guys get people try to sell them shit all the time, But if I can sell direct to your customers, and then your customers are coming to you and saying, hey, do you guys carry hand wraps here?
Yeah.
Right? That was what got it the most, was people would come in, oh, do you guys carry hand wraps? Hey, I got these at some event. I really liked them. You guys have these here? Because, on every single pack, my IG, the website, everything's on the very back. And so they could give it to this person, or they could take a picture of it. And the amount of sales I did through Instagram to multi-million-dollar dispensary chains is ridiculous.
Really?
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah. It just goes to show you, like, any medium you can communicate with someone on,
Right.
you can create a sale.
Now, do you think they had the mess up just because of how much you ordered, or do you think you just shit luck?
No, I think if anything, it's just at the end of the day, like, one, no one's fucking perfect, especially in a
Right.
giant operation where
Well, do you think it got held up at customs too, just because it was such a large order?
it got held up at customs because it was a certain dollar amount, and they didn't have the information they needed to clear it all.
Gotcha.
Didn't
Right.
have anything to do with it being cannabis related product. I mean,
Well, so technically it's not
it's not
cannabis
a cannabis,
related,
yeah,
right?
'cause it
But
could be for
at the time it was legally it still is a hemp related product, right?
Yep.
Because I was only doing hemp papers at the time, and now I've moved on to rice papers as well. But because of the 2018 Farm Bill Act, you could import and export hemp without any sort of like extra tax or tobacco tax. And now rolling papers are technically classified as a tobacco item, or like an OTP and other tobacco product is like what they file it as tax wise. But there was a loophole at the time where, well, this is a hemp item. Don't say anything specifically about hemp rolling paper, just rolling paper. So I was able to import everything without any sort of
issue.
issue, other than I didn't
Just
fucking supply my EIN and a few others. Which now,
Rookie mistakes.
Yeah.
yeah, you don't know what
learn
you don't
now.
know, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So,
you learned, and now it won't happen again.
and they took care of me all the way through. My supplier never once dropped the ball on me on that point. Obviously they were trying to make it right because they fucked up, but at the end of the day, it's probably the best case scenario for me, because I didn't have this like
It
looming
was early
pressure.
on.
Well, it was early on, and I didn't have this looming pressure of like, oh my God, I have to get rid of all of this stuff to make my money back. Because one, they matched my order for free, because they messed it up, and now I have this
Well, it kind of ended up being a blessing in disguise for
Right.
us.
completely,
Like,
completely.
you had an opportunity to kind of basically get all this free product that, yes, it was a fucked up package, but the product itself was the same. So you could just go around and give those out.
And as many as I gave away, I don't know if more than 3 people even said something about them being the opposite direction.
yeah, that's probably something you noticed.
Right
but,
away,
like,
yeah. It's
like how
this is
often
my
They
do
probably
you-
smoked and were really high. Like, whoa, this is cool.
Am I looking at this backwards? What the fuck?
This is some great weed and some awesome rolling paper.
But
dude, incredible, man. So,
yeah, man. So now it's a little over 100 locations across the Midwest.
dude, I didn't realize it was
That's
that many.
incredible, man.
Holy
That's
shit.
awesome.
Where I'm working on a few like bigger distribution deals, because like my number one fear outside of failing is scaling too fast.
Sure.
Because I've seen a lot of people try to scale too fast and put the cart before the horse, and next thing you know, you're completely off the rails. And now I'm at a point, where I'm comfortable with the supply chain that I have, getting things in, and really being able to scale it to the next level, and understanding the market was what I had to spend most of this time doing, because I went into this shit blind, outside of a couple buddies who I know that work at smoke shops and stuff like that. Like, all the market research I had was on my own.
On
Like,
your
oh
own.
yeah, I'm going to buy this fucking box of rolling papers from another smoke shop and try and get a fucking price from whoever the store owner is or the manager at the time. Hey, I don't care what the markup is. Just what do you guys pay for these? You know, just trying to do that. I finally had a guy just, hey man, we have this book you can order stuff from. Why don't you just take this? Yeah.
So that's how you found the supplier?
No.
Oh.
This is just how I found the pricing.
Oh, I see. Okay.
The supplier, everything, all that I did on my own.
Okay.
You know, and the margins that I was getting were okay, you know, but just my volume wasn't there to compete with some big dogs, you know, like, or even if I wanted to get, you know, distribution in, you know, 50 to 100 stores, like say QT, for example, right?
Yeah.
Like your margins got to be
Thin,
real thin. And I know that because, you know, before jiu-jitsu, before any of this stuff, I was a national accounts manager for a produce brokerage firm based out of Salinas, California. So I had like 118 accounts across the Midwest, 6 states, like, and some of my bigger customers were Walmart, Costco, and Sam's. And I mean, the volume that those guys buy is insane, but the margins are so razor thin that it
doesn't make sense to even put it in there.
Well, it does because it allows you to operate at a higher margin with other customers, right? Smaller customers, because obviously the more you're producing, you know, the more your margins can be in a sense, right? So
they're thinner, but there's so much of them that's bigger.
right. Well, it allows you to operate a little more freely with these other accounts. You know, like if I have one person guaranteed to take, you know, 1,000 boxes, but I have 500. Okay, cool. These are already accounted for. How can I maximize my margins on the other end, right? So, and I knew to compete with the big dogs, you know, or even at the dispensary level where, you know, at the end of the day, it's a fucking business. Like they're here to make money and so am I. So my best route was going direct to consumer right away. And it leaned into them coming to me and then the margins mattered less because now they're coming to me.
Well, and then you have raving fans of your product.
Right.
You know, which is great.
Right.
It's
I got people coming into their stores asking for my stuff. So
yeah, it's a great thing to have for sure.
For sure. So how many on average, I guess, I mean, you're working in per month, what you're selling per month over the course of all those, on average, how many boxes per month are you?
So typically I go by cases because,
Okay.
you know, like there's 50 in a master case of king size, 40 in a master case. I'm sorry, 40 in a master case of king size, 50 in a master case of regular. So I'm going about 5 cases a month.
Okay.
You know, it's really starting to fucking pick up, man. And a lot of it, like I said, is still direct to consumer. You know, it's a little bit slower at the retail level because they have so many other products to push as well. And, you know, I'm not the only rolling paper on the market.
Oh,
You know, and just like energy drinks, just like soda, everyone's got their fucking preference, you know, and how hard it is to convert someone without giving it to them for free. It'd be tough, you know, even if it's $2.50,
right? Yeah,
you know, for an extra $2.50, hey, you can try these new products that are local. Oh yeah, I'm good. I'll take the $3.50 raws that I know that I like.
Yeah, the ones that I've used forever.
Right. Hey, and it is what it is, you know, like not everyone's going to like Sprite. Not everyone's going to like Elements, you know, like, okay, that doesn't mean there's not a place, right?
Of course. So how did you go about finding the supplier?
Fucking Google, man.
Just Googling, is that day one supplier? You still at the same
one? Same one. Nothing's changed. Yeah. You know, now I went through about 20 different people testing samples and, you know, trying to get COAs and talk to someone who, you know, spoke like decent English. Not,
Sure.
you
So
know, that's
where's
the
the
toughest
supplier?
part. Out of France.
Out of France. Okay.
Yep. It's one of the older
Brush
paper
up on your
mills.
French.
Yeah, I was going to say.
No thing.
Stick some peanut butter to the top of your mouth.
I'm too busy studying Portuguese right now.
Okay.
Oh yeah, because your wife's Brazilian, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're gonna spend 2 weeks there this summer. So,
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah,
Awesome.
we're gonna go back for her birthday. It'll be the first time she's been back in 5 years. Man.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
So we're gonna go back for her birthday, scout some second wedding locations, and
Sweet.
we'll go back next year for a month. So, yeah,
Dude, I've always wanted to go. Go to the Mecca.
right.
some
Well,
training
so
in for sure.
we're gonna go look at some property while we're out there too.
Now, does
Cool.
she do jujitsu as well?
Nope.
Oh,
No,
okay.
she's a fucking beast though, bro. She speaks 3 languages. She's getting her master's degree in finance right now. She cooks and cleans for fun.
Oh.
Okay. You know, like I'll get home. She's like, I need to relax. I'm going to go clean the kitchen.
right?
Okay, love you. Want some help?
Yeah.
No, get out of my way. Okay, love you more.
Yeah.
Does she
Great.
cook you traditional Brazilian dishes and things like that?
Always.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
Hey,
man.
I'm the real Gringo Poppy. Don't get that twisted.
I love that.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
we eat a lot of fucking feijoada in the house. The way, and she'll kill me for saying this, but it's like Brazilian chili.
Okay.
Okay.
Black beans, every fucking cut of pork you could ever imagine, bacon, carne seca, all kinds. Oh man,
That
it's
sounds
insane.
amazing. That sounds.
Change your life.
Oh, one thing I wanted to ask. So, you sell rice papers and hemp papers. Like, I mean, other than the color, what's the big difference?
Honestly, I mean, hemp paper is hemp, right? It's made from a hemp pulp. Rice paper, contrary to popular belief in the cannabis community, is not made from rice. Now, there was one company that did that. They don't do it anymore, though, even though they still say like
Say that
the true rice paper on their packaging. It's like, you guys stopped doing that like fucking 35 years ago. But it's just a thinner wood pulp.
Okay.
It's just beat down and dried out and pulled thinner and thinner and thinner until like you can almost see all the way through it when you hold it up to the light.
Now, does one do better than the other?
It's more preference. Zach and I were kind of talking about this the other day. The hemp papers definitely are stronger. They're a little bit more malleable. Rice papers are thinner. If you want to get, into the weeds, they're about 1.5 micrograms thinner.
Into the weeds.
Right. So it's really about preference. Like right now, people I think are starting to migrate further away from the hemp papers. One, because they're thinner, and two, because hemp is one of the most bioavailable products like in the world.
It's like a super plant.
They're taking hemp plants right now and implanting them in the ground at Chernobyl to help suck up the radiation.
Oh wow!
Right.
Well, and if you ever like feel like hemp, it's like really light but like super durable, and it's like, and it's so versatile. Like you can make paper with it. I mean, the Constitution is written on hemp paper.
Have you seen
Hemp parchment.
hemp concrete?
Yeah, I've heard about it. Yeah,
It's insane.
Really?
it's like crazy strong.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like it's like 4 times as strong as like regular concrete, supposedly.
Shit, they need to start putting that down on the streets of St. Louis.
Yeah.
Get rid of these fucking potholes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Literally on this past weekend when we did the fight companion, Arion on his way here, hit a pothole and blew a tire out.
And especially after the snow. And
Yeah,
all
when
the
all
shit
the
for
plows
last
driving
week.
over it. Yeah.
Well,
Well,
that
and
and the salt just eating at it.
and then when it starts to melt, it goes down, but then it refreezes. Where does it go? It just expands.
Yeah.
It just
Right.
expands. It keeps getting worse and worse and worse and worse. And yeah, it drives me absolutely nuts.
That's crazy. Hemp concrete.
Yeah, hemp concrete. I mean, they make hemp protein powder. I mean,
Yeah.
there's
Oh, yeah, I've
hemp
seen
like
that.
fucking everywhere.
Everywhere.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's like such a versatile product. And for a long time, it was illegal to import. What you said, 2018 is when they stopped that. It was like you had to go through all of these just to sell any sort of hemp product, it was like very, very difficult. And this all had to do with the guy's name. I've heard Rogan talk about it several times, but it's the guy from you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
The whole reason that hemp became illegal was because of it was the paper industry, and because hemp was their preferred way to use paper. I mean, because it's way more durable, easier to make, easier to grow, and
and it's way more efficient to grow.
yes, and they made this thing called the decorticator, where it made hemp very easy to process. And when that came out, this guy, I can't remember his fucking name, but he's he had his business was paper, and he was the guy that was responsible for starting like the reefer madness videos. If you ever seen any of like all that propaganda that basically made, they said that and that's how they came up with the name marijuana, which marijuana is it's like a Spanish term for like a wild tobacco.
Wait, you mean it's not like Pineapple Express where they sat down in the basement and got really, really high and they're like, "This is illegal."
Supposedly not, but yeah, they
did that with acid.
Okay.
But yeah, that's essentially. But he like did like a campaign to make hemp illegal so that it wouldn't ruin his paper industry, and then that
Makes you crazy. It makes white women love black guys.
right. Yeah. They said it was like Mexican and black men. It caused
caused them to be violent and white women to love them. So it's
right.
like,
Yeah.
This is 1923.
Yeah.
We got to get them all out of here.
Yeah.
Women.
Yeah, we can't have this crazy Mexican tobacco or whatever.
And this
they were
was just
calling
how
it.
long ago what this was going on?
I think in the early 20s.
Yeah, about 100 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So,
Yeah.
and then, I mean, here we are 100 years later and it's finally, it's finally getting reversed.
Back
sort
on
of.
track, brother.
I mean, but federally,